Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
How much have you added weight since you were here?
Bro, I think I was like 20?
Rookie, you were
40 pounds.
You
I'm
were
like 265.
You 265 right now?
In between that and like 273, I'm floating in there.
What? You have looked at a scale and it said 273.
With shoes on, but still.
Too little.
That's not phone posits either, right?
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Come pigeon with us, Roser. Roser, right here.
You get downward dog.
Yes,
Okay.
You're going to go leg up,
I cannot.
Okay.
leg under.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I thought that's what you were doing.
You go back.
Yeah, but then you sit. Oh, you're flexible.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough Studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle is right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you consume not only this podcast, but also Kevin Garnett's podcast, because he's got one. And in the most recent episode, he made it clear he's fallen in love with Zach Edey, and he's now referring to him as Zach Alcindor, nicknamed after the great Lou Alcindor, who later, of course, became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. If you watched the clip, I bet it made you smile. It made me smile. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Jessica Benson is going to join me. She, of course, is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. She'll pop in here in about 20 minutes, and I'll chop it up with her. When we finish that, I'll take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Virginia coach Tony Bennett will formally announce his retirement later today at the age of 55. It's a trend in college sports, coaches exiting earlier than usual. I'll tell you why it's happening. For the most part, we'll do that in about 40 minutes. One day, after scoring 8 runs in Game 3 of the NLCS, the Dodgers scored 10 in Game 4 to take a 3-1 lead over the New York Mets. The series isn't over, but it feels that way. I'll cry about it a little later on in the show. We got a Game 3 classic in Cleveland last night, though. The Guardians beat the Yankees in extra innings thanks to a walk-off homer in the 10th. We'll show it to you in just a bit. Clippers star Kawhi Leonard, he's been indefinitely sidelined to start the regular season with inflammation in his right knee. Who could have seen this coming? We'll discuss that in the second hour. And good news from the CDC. Teen smoking has hit an all-time low in the United States.
Oh.
The kids, for the most part, have stopped using tobacco. I'm proud of them. I'll give you the numbers during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with, of all people, Kevin Garnett,
Okay.
because due to the fact that every person in America now has a podcast, like everybody, there's no American without a podcast now.
I think that's accurate.
It feels accurate. Kevin Garnett is American, so he has one too. All right?
Okay.
It's called KG Certified. And on the most recent episode, he was discussing the most impressive rookies he's seen this preseason. And he delivered a ringing endorsement of Zach Edey, who was the 9th pick of the 2024 NBA draft and will be the starting center for your Memphis Grizzlies this season, presumably. I'd play the clip for you, but there are a lot of words. There are a lot of words in there, like more than normal, that we're just not allowed to play or hear. And I was told it couldn't be bleeped in production, so we can't play it for you. I apologize. I tried. But if you want to see the clip on your own, you can find it. It's on my Twitter feed. Just go click that. It's spicy.
Yeah.
It's spicy. And the gist of it is that KG is in love with Zach Edey. He's talking to Paul Pierce, and he's asking Paul Pierce if he's seen Zach Edey. And kind of funny, neither one of them really understand how to say his name. Neither one of them can quite get Edey right, which shows you how little some people follow college basketball.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like they did two-time National Player of the Year, and they didn't quite have his name correct. But it's Zach Edey, and then KG explained to Paul Pierce, man, you got to be watching this guy. Have you seen him? Have you seen him? Because when I watch him, he's out there looking like Zach Alcindor, a nickname that is now tied to Lou Alcindor, who obviously later became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and is arguably the greatest basketball player who has ever lived. I know that debate about the GOAT is typically reserved for Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and then we do it on Get Up like every day. But Kareem is a 6-time NBA champion. He's a 3-time NCAA tournament champion. He's a 6-time MVP in the NBA. He was a 3-time National Player of the Year in college at UCLA. He was a 19-time NBA All-Star, Finals MVP twice, Final Four Most Outstanding Player in college 3 different times. He was the National High School Player of the Year 2 different times. Simply put, nobody is as accomplished at all levels of basketball as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and now Kevin Garnett is saying Zach Edey looks like him on the court. I liked hearing that. Did you like hearing that?
I did like hearing it. Obviously, that's a massive comp.
Yeah, I don't want to get too. I don't want to get too wild. I don't think anybody is actually thinking that.
I don't either.
30 years from now, we're going to look at Zach Edey's Wikipedia page, and it's going to look like Kareem's Wikipedia page. But what we are saying is Kevin Garnett is watching our Memphis Grizzlies, and he's not only excited about Zach Edey, he's excited about the whole franchise. Go listen to it if you can. But he specifically talks about Zach Edey, and he's fired up about Zach Edey. He's a believer in Zach Edey. And I do think it's important because it was this time last year, really this time 6 months ago, maybe this time 4 months ago, that people weren't believers in Zach Edey as an NBA player. Like, no mock draft had him going in the top 10. And when the Grizzlies took him in the top 10, most people thought that was too high. And now he's among the favorites to be Rookie of the Year. He should be starting at center for a Western Conference contender. And Kevin Garnett thinks he looks like Lou Alcindor. I'll take it.
Well, and I also respect KG's opinion because he was one of the first people to recognize Jaren Jackson Jr. and what he could be. Like, he was on that very early. KG was here at games, and that's you. That ain't me.
I never had my ringer on. I don't know why that's on.
He was here at games. I think it was Jaren's maybe second season, and they were kind of talking before the game and stuff like that. And then he went on and talked about Jaren in his podcast. And so, yeah, I respect his opinion on bigs.
I just when Hall of Fame guys can look at younger players and go, there's something special there. Mm-hmm. There's something neat there. There's something unique there. That does mean something to me.
Yep.
First off, I just like Kevin Garnett being excited. He's just hilarious.
He's one of my favorite players ever.
He's easily excitable and hilarious when he gets excited. Mm-hmm. Like, even him just talking about Zach Edey, he was fired up talking about Zach Edey. And it got me fired up.
It got me fired up too, man.
I'm ready for tonight. Fifth and final preseason game. Scheduled for inside FedEx Forum. Grizz Bulls. Tip is scheduled for 7 p.m. Tickets are available, Grizzlies.com. Grizz coach Taylor Jenkins has said that both Ja Morant and Marcus Smart are likely to play tonight. So if you're wondering, should I come down to FedEx Forum? Who's going to be in uniform? Who's not going to be in uniform? Will it even be an opportunity to see Ja Morant? According to your head coach, yes. Each of Ja Morant and Marcus Smart has been sidelined recently. Ja with a bad ankle, Marcus with a troubled knee. But according to Taylor, Both have been fully practicing, and tonight they should be on the court right here inside FedEx Forum. When you hear that, Bennett, do you like this news, or would you rather Taylor just say, next time you see John Marcus, it'll be in Utah?
I'm conflicted.
I find myself conflicted as well.
I'm conflicted because the thing is I don't want to go this in. I mean, listen, we've talked about it over and over and over again, the PTSD from all the injuries last season. And I don't want to take any risk, but it's like these guys are about to try to play 82 games of basketball. It's stupid of me to sit here and be like, I wouldn't play him in the preseason. I wouldn't play him in this last preseason game. I'm nervous about it.
The idea that this Friday night is like somehow more dangerous than next Wednesday or whatever.
Exactly.
It's just like, you're exactly right, by the way. It's not logical to be so, like, you can't get. They were on basketball courts playing basketball the entire summer.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah.
These are basketball players.
Right.
So it's illogical for you or for I or for anybody else to go, what are you doing? You can't let a basketball player play basketball. What if something bad happens? Because that's just no way to live your life.
Yeah.
That's like being scared to drive home today because, you could theoretically get smashed by a tractor trailer.
Yeah. Now, the reason I say I'm conflicted is because I say all that to say I probably wouldn't play them. That's just me. If I was making the decision. Yeah.
So here's the thing. It's illogical to say we want these guys, and I know they're going to play 82, but we want these guys to play 70, 75 games once the regular season starts. But I'm too scared tonight. That doesn't it's not logical. But if something happens tonight, it'll be a meltdown.
It'll be everyone will lose their minds.
Everybody
yes.
will lose their mind if something happens tonight.
Yes.
So I understand why you're conflicted. I find myself conflicted, but I'm not going to go through life or even a Friday night worried about the worst possible thing in the world's about to happen.
Right.
Jaren Jackson has also been a participant in practice this week, according to Taylor Jenkins, but nobody said he has been fully practicing like Ja and Marcus. These are just things that I pick up on. I think what people say often is important. Lots of times what people don't say is equally as important, maybe more important. And so here's the quote from Taylor Jenkins discussing Jaren Jackson Jr., and I'll tell you what's in there and what's not in there.
Okay.
He said, Jaren will test out the hamstring. As long as everything goes well, he should be on track to be available for the regular season opener in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
I hate that quote.
Oh, you hate that quote?
Well, you know what that quote tells me?
What?
When you're talking about Ja and Marcus, you know what he said? Mm-hmm. They've been fully practicing, and not only are they going to be ready to go in Salt Lake City, they're ready to go tonight against the Bulls in FedEx Forum. Mm-hmm. Let's go. We talked about Jaren. There's nothing definitive in there.
Sure.
There's nothing like he's good to go. There's nothing like he's been fully practicing. There's nothing like, oh, yes, he'll definitely be ready to go for the season opener in Salt Lake City. It says as long as everything goes well, he should be on track to be available for the regular season opener. There's just a lot of...
Look at you dissecting that quote.
There's just a lot of qualifiers in there.
I didn't think about it like that. Oh, boy.
I would prefer not to think about it like that.
I was leaning positive, and now after talking to you, I'm scared.
Well, I'm... Perhaps this is a curse, but I listen carefully.
Yeah.
I listen.
That makes sense.
I never try to trick myself into thinking what somebody is thinking. I just listen to their words, and I see what's there and what's not there. And then I react to those words. And if you knew how about this? If they were certain Jaren Jackson Jr. was going to play next Wednesday night, you know what you'd say?
He's not going to play tonight, but we expect him to be fully ready for the opener.
Not even that.
Yeah.
He's not playing tonight, but he'll be ready Wednesday.
Yeah.
Can't wait to put him in the starting lineup. I'd turn it in right now if I could. Obviously, they would put it just like that, but you get the point.
Yeah.
That's not what the quote is. As long as everything goes well, that's one qualifier. He should be on track, another one, for the regular season opener.
Well, we just need everything to go well.
That's what it sounds like to me.
We just need that hamstring test to go well.
We need everything to go well. I was hoping we wouldn't need everything to go well.
I was hoping
we'd just need things to go just whatever. Who cares how they go? But everything's going to be fine. The starting lineup's going to be the starting lineup on Wednesday in Salt Lake City. And let me be clear. I suspect that it will be. I think they think that it will be. But it is interesting that when Taylor was asked about it, he did not go all the way there.
Yeah.
He was unwilling to say Jaren Jackson Jr. will play against the Utah Jazz. He's certainly indicated with his words that Ja Morant will play against the Utah Jazz next week. Marcus Smart will play against the Utah Jazz next week. They weren't willing to go that far with Jaren Jackson Jr., which is just a little deflating. I still think he'll probably be in the lineup because that's what they think, that he'll probably be in the lineup. But this close to the start of the regular season, I'd rather know for sure.
Yeah. Hamstrings are weird, man.
Don't tell me about weird
hamstrings. Are weird.
I know all about weird hamstrings.
They just flare up on you out of nowhere.
Don't tell me, buddy. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Whew. Jessica Benson is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. She joins me on Fridays. Today's Friday. She'll be in here next.
Ja Morant, this player in the NBA with the most approved going into this season.
Ja Morant is one of the best players in the world. He's one of the best players in the world.
On the court, there is no question, barring an injury, that what Ja Morant is.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What do you think about this matchup against the Pirates and the Bison?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is who in the hell put Gus Johnson as the notable alumni selection when we got Kamala Harris right now that's more relevant? It's 28 people I would have named before I would have got the Gus Johnson.
My assumption is, Mike, Hampton will find a way to come up again. Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
At Southland Casino Hotel, it's time to work hard, play hard with our $500,000 giveaway. Earn entries October through November 9th and take home free play and amazing prizes on select Saturdays, including a big rig. Stay connected on social media for weekly drawing clues. Join us November 9th for the grand finale drawing where you could drive off in a four-wheeler, side-by-side, or big rig. Work hard and play harder at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
We got to talk about the best wrestling that we watched all week. You're up.
I think Brunson Reed and Braun Strowman put on a 5-star match in 60 seconds. I've never seen it happen before. Brunson Reed chunks the fan at Braun. I'm like, where the hell did that dude come from?
I got a tweet saying it's a good thing they're not in Memphis, or else that would have been one of the Memphis wrestling guys getting hurled.
Exactly.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. You see FedEx Forum there. That's where the Miami Heat and the Memphis Grizzlies will be playing a preseason game tonight, 7 o'clock. It'll be on NBA TV if you want to watch it on NBA TV. Jessica Benson's the host. Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Weekdays 8 a.m. Grind City Media. She joins me on Friday. She's here right now. How are you on this Friday morning?
I'm wonderful. The weather's beautiful.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a gorgeous day out.
Is it?
Yeah, it feels really nice outside.
Does it? You look all bundled up.
I am. It's actually a little hot. I was stepping outside to speak to someone, and I said, it's a little too warm for this jacket.
You had to have a conversation outside?
Yeah.
I understand.
I was saying hi to someone.
Okay.
Someone was driving by.
Hey, I don't mean to ask too many questions.
Okay.
It's none of my business. All right.
Saying hey to a friend.
It's none of my business who you're talking to at work.
It was hot.
I didn't mean to imply I deserve to know who you talk to at work. It's none of my business.
I went for a run last night.
Congratulations.
I was good because I had a little hamstring scare earlier in the week.
Oh God! Join the club. Everybody around here. Everybody around here has got.
Messed up.
I don't even think you can work here without having a hamstring issue.
Now we've all just got some hamstring problems, but I ran 5 miles.
Hey.
If I can do it, Jaren Jackson Jr. can be ready by next Wednesday. I'm saying it.
I hope so.
Because I'm not a professional athlete.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I hope you're right. I think you're going to be right. I'm going to try to be optimistic. But let's revisit what I was talking about in the opening. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but that quote does not say Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be ready to play in the season opener. There's lots of qualifiers in there, and I would rather not have that.
Yeah. No qualifiers is better than
I would rather just hear,
assortment of qualifiers.
Are you kidding me? This is what I would hear. Hey, how's Jaren doing? Amazing. We're holding him out because, what's the point? But Wednesday night, we're unleashing him, ready to go.
We'd love to give him 5 more days to make sure everything's all shored up, but he will. How about this? He will be good to go next Wednesday against the Utah Jazz.
Because you know what? When they are sure somebody will be good to go,
That's what they say.
That is what they say. And that's not what they said here.
It is tough. I've been trying to counter my anxiety over Grizzlies injuries with the reminder that everybody deals with injuries, and it could be worse. You could have Kawhi Leonard on your team indefinitely out to start the season. I'll take the vagueness around well, I guess I should knock on wood. Cross some
be
fingers.
careful.
Don't ever say it can't get worse because we've seen it.
We existed last year together. We were all in that together.
Yeah, don't say it can't get worse.
But, there's injuries across the league going into
every day.
The year. Every single day.
There's a new NBA headline every day about a significant player being sidelined.
Correct. And I think we need to have a, what's it called? Like an exorcism how we deal with injuries internally in our souls.
Yeah.
Because there will be injuries throughout the season that do not mean what they meant last year.
Damn, I was hoping there weren't going to be injuries this season.
Great.
I was hoping there weren't going to be
injuries.
injuries.
A single one, although, they're for sure without Gigi and Vince to start the year, so we're already into it.
But you know who they're going to have, presumably, to start the season?
Yuki Kawamura.
Well, maybe. We'll see. Zach Alcindor was who I was thinking of.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar himself.
We need to start selling down there in the Grizz Den.
Zach Alcindor shirts.
Number 14 Grizz shirts, Alcindor on the back.
I'm into it.
Do I have to have all the good ideas around here?
Yeah.
Sell me an Alcindor 14 Grizzly Jr. I would buy that. I'll make my own at NBA.com.
Okay.
I'll make my own.
I love that.
Listen, it's just a funny clip and Kevin Garnett just being goofy, but that does mean something to me.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
I was talking with Lang about it on my show this morning, and in a preseason, off-season that has shown a lot of, for lack of a better word, disrespect or forgotten nature when it comes to the Grizzlies and not a lot of belief in what they can be this season.
Right.
When I hear someone like Kevin Garnett, who, I trust him at his word, and the fact that he is paying attention to the Grizzlies.
That's the first part. He's paying attention,
right?
And actually chastising Paul Pierce for not paying attention.
Yes. Are you
not watching? He's like, I knew you weren't watching the game, P.
But
when you
I
didn't
was,
hit right. He's
but
like, I loved all that.
Run.
That little part. There's this moment. It's weird the memories you hold on to. Like I can't remember big things in my life, but I remember these little bitty things. And I remember in this moment, I had 2 roommates, and it was a fun time, but a wild time. I was trying to be a first-year reporter at the Commercial Appeal, like a normal job, and they were both graveyard bartenders at the casinos.
Okay.
So try living that life.
Yes.
When you're it's hard, but they would often come home at
Were you graduated?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was hard.
Well, I was like, not to take this on a whole different tangent, but by my senior year at USC, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worked for the rival site, uscfootball.com,
Mm-hmm.
and that included working every game. So I would always make a big stink about, I'd be with my friends. They would all be getting quite drunk early in the morning. And I'd be like, no, I can only have one.
Right.
Because I have to work the game tonight. And I'd wear I'd be like, I have to dress business casual.
Sure.
I have work.
That's serious stuff to do.
Reporting.
Yeah, I'm a reporter. I got to go report.
Exactly. I got to go talk to Nelson Aguilar
Sure.
on the sidelines at the game. What are you going to do? Another keg stand? You go for it. But it is an odd, I think back on it and I'm like, I don't feel like I missed a ton. I did my fair share of enjoying myself in college, but sometimes I'm like, damn, I couldn't just go to one game and just really live the fan life at USC.
Trust me, I had plenty of fun when I was younger. Probably more fun than I should have. But living with these were 2 of my best friends.
Yes.
I'd still love them to pieces, even if I don't see them as often as I used to. But it was a hard way to live when you have 2 roommates. You're outnumbered. Yeah. And they are pulling you in some wild directions. Anyway.
You're just trying to break the story.
I was just trying to go cover a Cairo football game, and anyway, one of their things how they'd spend their time sometimes is they'd get super high and drunk and just play like Madden or video games. This is not a
As young men
This
do.
is not a unique story.
No.
And I would just sort of
The American
I would just sort of stumble in on him sometimes. I promise there's a point to this. And I remember one time my one buddy. It's not nearly as good as the payoff is not worth it. I promise you. But I remember I walk in, I'm just sort of observing. I'm sort of walk in and I'm just sort of observing. And when my one roommate is becoming visibly disgusted with the play calling of my other roommate. Oh. He's playing against the computer, however it works, and he's just back there sort of shaking his head. He's just really upset. And my other roommate looks at him and goes like, "What's up?" He goes, "You just have so much potential. You could really be great at this, but I don't feel like you're watching. I don't feel like you're paying attention enough. I don't feel like you're working at it enough." And I was like, you idiots are super high at 10 a.m. and you're disappointed in his commitment to Madden. That's what I thought of when Kevin Garnett looked at Paul Pierce and said,
You didn't even watch the Grizzlies preseason
That's what
game.
it reminded me of. He was
What are you
scolding.
doing?
He was scolding his friend for not watching a Grizzlies preseason game.
Pacers
Just like my
preseason
roommate
game.
was scolding my other roommate for not taking Madden
You're
seriously
not a real
enough.
one.
That's exactly right. That's
You're
what
not paying attention.
I told you the payoff wasn't going to be that good.
It was okay.
It
It was
was
better than I expected.
fine.
It took a nice little turn in the end. Yeah, Bennett, it's okay.
It was just okay.
Yeah.
I'm
But it
a
is
storyteller
exciting.
by nature. I know when I got a good one and when I don't have a good one. That wasn't a very good one.
What do you? It's a testament to where we sit right now with Zach Edey, which is in a very positive place going into the season.
Sure.
Right? And especially when you see the run that he did have against the Pacers. Granted, Miles Bridges is having a bad preseason period a little. Or not
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner, excuse me. Miles Bridges is always having a bad.
He's having a bad decade.
Wrong Miles. Did you see Miles Turner get dunked on last night?
I did not. I was focused on terrible baseball.
Well, he also got dunked on. I was focused on terrible Thursday night football between the Broncos and the Saints, but we all have our vices on a Thursday. However, seeing Zach Edey go up against legitimate NBA bigs and have the performance that he did gives you confidence. Like, the preseason doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but what does matter is performances like that from Zach Edey, and it tends you to believe, like, hey, this could actually work out.
I'll tell you what is most meaningful to me about the whole thing is that up until Zach Edey actually put on an NBA uniform, the majority of people who talk about basketball and write about basketball and analyze basketball seem to be skeptical that he could be what we already see him being.
Yes.
And in just a couple of summer league performances and a few preseason performances, he has now emerged as among the favorites to be the Rookie of the Year. Kevin Garnett's comparing him to Lou Alcindor in a fun way.
Right.
And even though on the night of the draft, when the Grizzlies selected him, most people said this is too high. If you redrafted it today,
You say it makes perfect sense.
you would say it's too low.
Yeah.
He would go higher probably. I just it means something to me that everybody is coming around. And it feels like the skeptics are now in the minority when they were the majority not too long ago.
It's an interesting thing. People are very quick to want to be like, oh, those skeptics are going to look real dumb. But you bring up a good point. Like, the skeptics were very much the majority.
That's right.
Even though we saw it, a two-time player of the year.
It wasn't
we
just
saw
like
the
there was a
dominance
handful of
at
haters
Purdue.
over here. The majority of people said, I don't think this is going to work in the
Listen,
NBA.
I was healthily skeptic. I was a healthy skeptic is what I would call it. But by the time draft night happens, you see people start to be like, well, this is why this could be a great pick for the Grizzlies. I remember Matt Painter on your show, was it the very next day? By the end of that day, I was like, all right, I believe in this.
Right.
And then by the end of Summer League, even though we didn't even see a large portion of Zach Edey, but in the small glimpse that we got, I was like, okay, I can see it. And now through the preseason, it continues. And it hasn't been a perfect preseason by any means,
No.
But it is helpful coming off of like that game. Like, I would love for that to build tonight against the Miami Heat here at FedEx Forum. Everybody knows it's Grizzlies Heat.
Grizzlies Heat inside
Tonight at
FedEx Forum, 7 o'clock.
We will be there. John Morant's going to be on the basketball court. But you also get the opportunity to start seeing him play with people that he's actually going to play with.
That's right.
That's my biggest bummer on Jaren not being healthy is I want to see Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. be the front court for the Memphis Grizzlies.
We've still literally never seen them on the court together.
I have never seen it with my eyes.
Right.
It makes a ton of sense on paper. I have never seen it with my eyeballs. I would love to see, Ja throw him a lob, and great to see Marcus Smart back out there too. But until I see this starting five that we were supposed to see, like, I just feel like I'm left craving this opportunity.
Sure.
Which is true.
Fingers crossed we'll get
Next
it Wednesday
Wednesday.
night. Fingers crossed we'll get it on Wednesday night, as always. TBD. I want to talk to you about college football.
Oh, boy.
I've got a blind spot here.
Okay.
It's something I struggle with. I tend to like to talk about things that either just happened or are about to happen. And because college football typically is a Saturday thing, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, looking ahead and thinking about college football. I'm like, hey, there's this stuff I want to talk about that just happened, and there's this other stuff that's about to happen, and college football always just feels far away. And I look up and it's Friday, and I go, I barely talked college football this week. I did 25 minutes on potato chips, but I didn't really. I've spent more time talking about potato chips this week than college football, and I realize that's probably not the smartest thing to do.
No. So right now you want to talk about Virginia Tech Boston College last night.
Nope. Didn't even know that happened. I do want to talk about.
I saw Inner Sandman. That was cool.
Yeah.
I've witnessed that in person.
Have you done the Inner Sandman
I've
thing?
been to Blacksburg for that. It's cool. It's cool. When I was early at CBS, I would go cover college football games, and I got to go to see. It's really one of my favorite things. I got to go to all the best play. I've been to all the best college football stuff, all of it. I've been to the Rose Bowl and Virginia Tech and Clemson and Alabama and Ohio State and Texas and you name it. I've been to the college football thing, and that Virginia Tech, that's a scene. That's a real scene.
I did Enter Sandman, but not in
Blacksburg. Right. It was some bowl game.
I covered my first assignment when I moved to Memphis was going to the Tennessee Virginia Tech battle at Bristol at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and we drove. Me and my photographer Kevin Barbie drove all the way across the state and covered that game.
Okay, I remember that.
The environment was incredible. I was like,
no,
this is what it's all about.
No, there's something really cool about a big time college football game.
I love it. That's why I love college football.
I don't go to them anymore, ever. But I have been, and I enjoy them. And Virginia Tech's I don't want to say at the top of the list, but it's in the category.
Okay.
It's in the group of this is a cool thing to experience. Look around. This is a cool thing.
This feels special.
So tonight we do have a big time the number 2 ranked team in the country, Oregon.
Oh boy.
That's your former Pac-12 member, and it comes off of this is really a big win for Fox tonight to have Oregon coming off of that win over Ohio State. The Dan Lanning story has been blown up over the past week. They've been in the headlines all week. This Oregon team, you know what a national champion from the West Coast looks like. Oregon looked the part to you?
Yes, but this is the Big Ten test. And I know that sounds absolutely absurd, going to 1-5 Purdue.
No, you just go knock this out of the park. This ain't a problem.
You are going 2 time zones on a Friday, on a short week after you had your big one. If Oregon comes out and covers the spread, I will be massively impressed. It's all the way up to 29.5.
Right.
Earlier this week it was 27.5. I'm not sure what it opened at, but generally, the thinking is Oregon should win this game by 4 touchdowns.
Right.
Even though Penn State made a change at quarterback and their offense actually looked functioning last week, and they almost beat Illinois, who's 5-1 this season. I think this Oregon team is legit.
Right.
And when the Pac-12, RIP forever and always, moved on, there was one team that always felt built to succeed in the Big Ten, and that was Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of recruiting. It's because how they are built on the line. They have the beefy men necessary to compete in the Big Ten. I've had to watch USC struggle with physicality all season long and just frankly come to the conclusion that they weren't ready. And Oregon was ready. And a part of that is Dan Lanning and just existing from a coaching standpoint where he gets it in the X's and O's, but he gets it in NIL. He gets it in how he builds this team. And I like this Oregon team a lot. And Dylan Gabriel, I thought last week was really, really impressive. If there was one knock on Oregon going into that Ohio State game, it was the offense hasn't looked as good as it did with Bo Nix at the helm. And I thought Dylan Gabriel took a huge step forward in potentially going to New York for the Heisman ceremony.
I think it's becoming increasingly clear why he just passed on the opportunity to be even seriously considered at Alabama, because it's starting to look like he made a decision. Why go follow the GOAT there when I can be the GOAT here?
Right.
And they're going to give me everything I need to be the GOAT here. I don't know if a lot of people were talking about this heading into last week's game, but I heard it afterward from people in the industry. Everybody was just like, that was an awesome college football game, Ohio State, Oregon. And they said, you know what that also was? Those were maybe the 2 most expensive football teams in the country, which means I don't think that should, Ohio State being the most expensive team in the of all time.
Okay, as we're about to maybe enter the World Series with the expensive, I mean,
Right.
obviously I'm sorry for
It's
they're
not-
expensive too.
it's not your
But
fault.
if
Yeah,
it
they're
does end up being Dodgers Yankees.
Yeah, we got
It's like, ooh, this is a testament to the American way.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
do you
yeah.
spend a lot of money on things, you might be successful.
It might work
but
out.
It has filtered to college football, and it is one of the reasons too where when Kalen DeBoer leaves Washington, a Washington team that went to the national championship game, and he does leave for Alabama. I was like, man, you're telling me that the big donors at the University of Washington couldn't have given him the same level of comfort of you can have whatever you want here. Stay in Seattle, build on this year, bring a large amount of talent back, and they end up losing almost everybody. Like Jed Fish has had to completely rebuild at UW, which is how you end up them giving up 40 points to Iowa last weekend. But for Dan Lanning, it just made sense.
Right.
And I think it's a testament to Nike.
That's what it is. It's
yeah. Let me. Yeah. Why did I even continue trailing on? It's a testament to Nike. Period.
Right. Well,
and it always has.
I don't know if it's period, but that's the big thing.
Yes.
And I don't know the ins and outs of Washington and Oregon exactly.
Right.
But my understanding is that they just care more at Oregon about this stuff than they do at Washington. And
I disagree with that.
Okay, good, because you would know better.
I mean, my mom was a 40-plus year season ticket holder. Her family was, and she just canceled her season tickets this year for the first time, and I had her do that. Now, a part of that is because something that if you don't live on the West Coast and follow these teams, and if they're not good, if you're not getting the premier time slots of Oregon, like I'm going to the University of Washington USC game in 2-3 weeks, whatever it is. We don't know what time that game is going to be, but both those teams aren't particularly great.
Right.
So they're either going to play at noon,
Right.
or they're going to play at 9 p.m.
Right.
local time. And that stinks for season ticket holders. Like nobody wants to go at games at those times. But Washington fans really do care. It's a great environment. I have seen a passion for that. But Oregon reputation-wise, and that's why I do think the Nike piece of it plays such a massive part, is you associate it with a different brand of West Coast football.
Right. Like when I would talk, and maybe football's different, but when I would talk to Pac-12 basketball coaches over the years, it would be like Ben Howland's gone to 3 Final Fours, and UCLA's still flying out of LAX to get to a road game. Yes. And it's just when I say care, not as much, I don't mean in like can the fans do cheer?
Way.
Right. I mean like
way.
Are you comfortable as a university, as an institution of higher learning, throwing tens of millions of dollars at this thing to make it right?
And there's so many, just speaking factually, there's so many tech billionaires in the Seattle area. It shocks me that they haven't resource cared in the same way.
Right. I think some of it's just a mindset.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to Eric Musselman about this a couple weeks ago.
Oh, my coach.
Your coach. And one of the points he made is that he still has access to private planes sometimes, but not as much as when he was at Arkansas. And the reason I thought this was interesting. He said, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but in Arkansas, understand if you are a super rich person in Arkansas, you probably go to Florida for vacations.
Yes.
And where are you flying out of? These people live in, everything would have to be a connection in Atlanta. And so everybody,
private planes.
All the rich people in Arkansas have private planes because it simplifies life. And his thing was like, those same people in LA might not have a private plane because it's like they have LAX. And they'll just, wherever you want to go, you can get there at LAX. So it doesn't make as much sense for them to have private planes. Yeah. But everybody in Arkansas, if you got that kind of money, you need a plane.
Right.
But in LA, you got LAX. And so people are just more comfortable.
Yeah.
You'll see somebody
That's even here, very wealthy people in Memphis.
Have planes.
Planes.
Yeah, I have friends.
You would be shocked.
I have multiple friends with planes.
I've been shocked.
Yes.
As I've met someone, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to Florida. I'm like, oh, how fun. Are you driving or are you flying there? Oh, yeah, we're taking the plane.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, of course.
Of course you are.
Silly me.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a private plane?
Oh, lots of times.
Lots of times?
I mean, sure.
Really?
Damn.
I mean, not lie. I should rephrase. That's overstating it.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
But several. I don't know how to say it.
That's so cool. That's a goal.
Well,
I've never been on a private
mean,
plane.
either. The closest I ever got was I got to fly with the Tigers football team when I did, the main person who usually shot the games for us for the coaches show for Local 24, he was on paternity leave. And so I got to do 2 games. And to go to that airfield and just walk on the plane, that's the coolest thing in the world.
Well, I would do private planes with the Tiger basketball team all the time. I did one. This is a funny one. Early in John's tenure at Memphis, he was invited. It was one of those deals where the Tigers had a Saturday game and then no midweek game, and then the next game's not until the next Saturday, right? And so I guess ESPN had reached out to him, or he had something, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you come up, just sit in studio with us on a Tuesday night doubleheader?"
Yeah.
And I was at practice. I was the only beat writer, and he mentions it sort of casually, like, "Yeah, I'm going up to Bristol on Tuesday," and he just sort of said, "If you want to go, let me know." That's so cool. And I said, "I'll go." I don't know. It's one of those things where
that never happens today.
Or
does it? I don't know.
I can't imagine John Calipari asking me in 2024. But like
I'm not talking about you personally, but just like a beat reporter.
Oh yeah, that
having the opportunity to fly.
Is Penny Hardaway going to ask
Jason
Jason Munns if he wants to get on a private plane with him and go to Connecticut? Probably not, right? So it was one of those. This is what it felt like to me in hindsight. It's one of those things where if I said, "Hey, if you want to come swimming tomorrow, just come on down to the house." And you're like, "Okay, I'll be there." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't really think they were going to say yes." One of those deals. Like I did this one time. With there was some. I don't want to get too specific. There's some people we know, and it was like our kids were friends, and they were like, "Oh, so and so," and the kids spent the night, and they were like, "Oh, little so and so had the best time at your house. He said he loved swimming at your house and whatever." And I said, "Anytime you guys want to come over, just come on over." And
they came back over.
Every weekend.
Oh my God.
It was like, you would get the text messages like, what time are you? And finally we just had to, you have to stop answering. You have to stop answering text. Because it's like, I didn't mean really come to my house whenever you want.
This wasn't literal.
No, this
was polite.
I was just being polite.
I was just being nice.
You can't move in, right?
Insane.
That's what it felt like to me. John was
That's my worst nightmare.
John was like, "If you want to go, just come on." I was like, "Okay, I'll go."
Sure.
And next thing you know, it's me, him, Steve Rockefort on the plane up to Bristol. So that was a fun little private plane thing. I've done other ones here and there, but it's nice.
That's really nice.
It's nice.
Must be nice.
Except, you ready for this? I've reached a point in life, because we have some friends who just recently purchased a plane. And they're constantly like,
I don't want to go on friends' private planes.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
It was as simple as like, "Hey, do you want to fly down to Oxford?"
No.
And I said, "This is how people die."
Yeah, that scares me.
This is how people die.
I would have to take like 4 Xanax.
I just won't do it. I'm not going to. How often do you see these super...
Yes, I know. I think about this way too much.
These are wealthy people.
My excuse for not being wealthy enough to own a private plane is because I see too many examples.
No, it's like... I don't
even like to say it out loud.
I'll get on Kim Kardashian's plane.
Yeah.
I'll get on...
Built different.
It's built different. It's built different. But like, if you got the little plane, we're flying propellers.
No.
I'm just not doing that.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's just not the way I'm. I've done that before.
Not to talk about too many planes here, but have you been on a seaplane?
I don't know what that means.
Like when you fly to an island and then you have to take a seaplane because you can't like get to like your hotel. So you have to get on a plane that goes over the sea. Like it doesn't go all the way in the sky, but it's a little small propeller jet.
I don't think I've done that. I've done get at the airport and get on a boat and take a boat to the hotel. That was in Venice. That was wild.
Yeah, we did that too.
You literally take a boat to the hotel.
Yeah.
You leave the airport. You get on a boat.
We got a car to a boat to the hotel.
Yeah, something like
crazy.
that. Something like that.
That was someday you're gonna have to take it for every hotel in Venice because it's gonna be underwater.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, no, we were. Long story. We won a trip to Antigua back in the day at an accidental.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It happened well over a year ago. It was an accidental silent auction.
How'd you win a trip?
Well, we didn't just win it. We bet on a. We bid on a trip.
Yeah, gotcha.
You paid for a trip to Antigua. That's what you're telling me.
Sure. But
I've never won anything. That's fine.
Bennett never wins
for a
nothing.
very affordable price because there was. I thought I told you guys this story. We went to, we were out to drinks with friends at Art Bar at Crosstown Concourse. And as we got there, Chris, my husband, always got the eye on the prize. He was like, it looks like a silent auction. And sure enough, it was just a pop-up silent auction where it was all virtual. So everything was being done on a phone. And we start going past these vacations, and some of them are pretty expensive, like $5,000 to go on a James Bond trip through Italy and Switzerland. And we're like, oh, that's nice. If you had that money, that'd be great. And then we come across these island vacations, and they're all like in the $500 to $1,000 range for these all-inclusive, like 7 nights at an all-inclusive, beautiful place in Antigua. And so he starts getting interested, and I'm like, we don't have the money. He goes, Jess, like all-inclusive 7 nights, we've got to do this. We're meeting up with friends. I say, don't be weird. Like, please enjoy this time with our friends. Don't be on your phone the whole time looking at these bids. And he's like, sure. So we're all sitting, and he goes, so what is everyone's thoughts on silent auctions?
Here we go.
By the end of the night, we went to a wrestling event at Black Lodge.
Okay.
We're all bidding on these trips to Antigua. We all won. 3 couples all won trips to Antigua.
And you got to go at the same time?
No, we're going at different times.
Okay.
4 of us might end up going. One of the couples is actually going for their honeymoon, which is fantastic.
Okay.
So they'll be going first. But anyway, when we were getting everything situated, Chris was like, I think we're going to have to get on a seaplane. And I was like, I'm not getting on a seaplane.
Right.
Like, I have no desire. We won this trip, and there's a lot of hidden costs. Let me be perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Things have snuck up in ways that I did not anticipate. But turns out we don't have to get on the seaplane. That was a long story just to get on the fact that I don't have to get on it.
That's a lot of words to say you're not comfortable with the seaplane.
I never thought that I was in. Thank you so much. I
that's sick.
appreciate it. It was a great night. We were all so not sober by the time we went and claimed those trips. And it felt like the greatest night in the world. And then we woke up the next morning and we were like, what
do we do?
Done?
What do we do? I did it. As I'm sort of thinking through it, I did one. Rest in peace to the great Silky O'Sullivan. But he put me on a private plane one time down in New Orleans. He was the
no way.
Whatever the.
That's a cool one.
What do you call the main person of a parade at
the headmaster? No,
that's not the headmaster. That's who runs a school.
The
parade for Mardi Gras. He was the king
the
of the
Grand Marshal.
Something.
That's
Grand
it.
Marshal.
Something.
That's it.
I've been to a
Grand
Rose
Marshal.
Parade.
And it was the same type of thing. It was like I was at Silky's and we were hanging out with Silky. I was like 24.
I have to admit, I did not know Silky was a real person.
Silky's a real person.
Silky was real. Yeah.
The great
he brought those goats.
Yeah. Silky was the
I
best.
didn't know my history
So,
of a place I love.
My wife and I had just started dating. And
What a flex.
Well, how's that a flex?
If you took her.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, that's a flex.
Oh, yeah, but
no wonder you're married.
I lost a girlfriend with the most amazing flexes, and she just, it was over. That's another story for another day. But
Bennett, we got to find some people with private planes.
I know.
So
Robert Parra, if you're listening.
So we were at this thing, and Silky goes, he goes, I'm the Grand Mart, whatever they call it, the parade. Yeah. You guys should go. And I said, when is it? And he was like, it's a Saturday or something. And I said, oh, well, I gotta work. I had excuses for why I couldn't go. And he said, what if I put you on a private plane? And I said, okay. And so we did that, but it was the propellers thing.
Oh, that would terrify me.
And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it today, but I was very comfortable then. I was young. Isn't it weird? When I was young, I was like, who cares? And now I'm like probably close to death, but I'm trying to avoid it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I'm closer to death than I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I can't believe you've had this many opportunities. Like, I had one opportunity at USC that to this day I am mad that I didn't take. And it was just like someone who I wasn't great friends with, and it felt weird.
Right.
But like, I could have just gotten on it. I should have just sucked it up and been like, yes, we're flying to Vegas, and I'm getting on this person's private plane, and the rest is history.
Right.
But I just couldn't make it work in my brain. And that was the only time I've ever been asked to get on a private plane.
well, now I turn them down. And not like every day somebody's trying to put me on a private plane. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a break.
Why? What's going on?
They're evacuating the arena right now.
Oh,
Wait,
my God.
what?
Yeah.
Did someone else tear a hamstring?
They're making the directors all evacuate
Really?
the arena. Yeah.
We really have to stop a show.
We really had to
But
stop
we're
it.
talking
That's what
about
we're
planes.